But I do want to, I appreciate everything that ACPS is doing, because I know the parents, you've got half the parents that want ACPS open right now and have wanted that for the last 8 months, wanted that 2 weeks after we closed, right? Because we were only supposed to be closed for 2 to 3 weeks, right? That's what we heard. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody. Nobody. So, different people just had to adapt different ways. I know our household has had to adapt, and it's been tough, elementary school kids in a house with at least working parents. We're working, but we've had other families who have lost their jobs, who can't go to work because they have become childcare, because of course schools are always thought of as childcare, even though people didn't really think of it as childcare. It's always been education, but now we find out it's been childcare. So I think, there are some people out there that, oh my gosh, heaven forbid their kids, I came to the realization 6 months ago, if my child, for whatever reason, doesn't make the grade literally this year, then I am just going to be okay if they have to repeat it in person next year. And I told my husband the same thing. And I am a career educator saying that. Okay. But you have to give some grace for the situation. And I don't think some parents, everybody, like Dr. Hutchings has already said, is stressed. That everybody, every household is taking on stress in a totally different way with this. So there's that. Now for what I put out there on video a couple days ago, March 1st, because we had been told a date, and it was almost like the dog had eaten my homework for the 15th time. And I know I've had a couple of school board members reach out to me going, I would have told you if you asked. And honestly, there were more than 2 doing this. However, if you all are an elected body, and I'm trying not to place blame on anybody, but if it's really 3 people on this call that are on council that are the social media people, and we are the ones getting the questions when we aren't the school board members who know the answers, but the school board members aren't on social media answering some of these questions, it begs the question, who is supposed to be on social media answering the questions? I understand everyone has a website. We have a website, school board has a website, the schools have everybody has a website. Now, that being said, it took me 10 to 15 minutes to find a link for a meeting 2 weeks ago that the school board didn't have it, whatever it was, I can't remember now. It wasn't on the calendar for me to actually click on the calendar to a link to get to that, but I digress. I put that video out there for a few reasons. One, that date had been out there that it was mid-February, that building was coming down. It was coming down. And then in the 2 weeks leading up to what I put out on social media March 1st, which was basically a very silent spinning around so everyone could see that there wasn't a bulldozer in sight, there wasn't a gate up until this morning when the gates started going up around the building. We needed to call the question, why? Why? And since then, I have gotten school board members texting me, but the problem is you shouldn't be texting me. You should be putting it out there to tell the community who's asking what the answer is. I appreciate you texting me, and I love the personal relationships we have, but the community members need to hear you, and they won't just go to the website. They want a quick interaction, just a quick one. And I know you're not going to set any precedent by doing it, and you don't have to go back, in 2 seconds and answer anybody. You don't have to. That's only Justin Wilson who does that. Nobody else does that. And I give you the okay not to do it, okay? Because I don't either. I don't have time. There's not enough hours in my day. But I'm telling you, there are very unhappy people and I understand newsletters went out and everything else, but the people that did respond to my video are the ones who are engaged in MacArthur, in the advisory committee, in the community, who didn't have the answer either. Obviously, I'm very passionate. I love the school system. I love our schools. I love our kids. Our teachers are phenomenal. I mean, I honestly, my issue is the communication. That's it. That's my issue. The communication, because whatever your answer is, it cannot be any worse than not hearing anything at all. And that's the issue that community members have. And it's not just about schools, it's about everything. If they haven't heard from somebody about something, they're upset. Because not knowing is worse than any answer you're going to give them. But they need an answer. They need to be able to plan. They need to see the progress. And I understand if there was progress in buildings, fantastic. If it was asbestos, Dominion, the easements, the can't get the bulldozers rented till a certain time, whatever the answer is, they need to just hear the answer on social media, because we're in a pandemic. It's been 11 to 12 months, and this is the wave of the future. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm sure there are 50 million others that I don't know about yet because I'm old. They just need to know. That's it. Your answer could be awful, but they just need to hear it from you. 9 of you. There are 9 of you. Somebody.
All right. So
that's the thing about MacArthur, because I don't want the same issues coming up with the high school project. I mean, and then we need to talk about co-location. My question about co-location, are we going to look at co-location at every individual school site as it comes up? Because the community needs to know, not to mention the city, okay? So what is going on with that? Because I was in the joint facilities community meeting on, is that last night? I can't remember. I think it was last night. So where are we with test fits? Because I saw a lot of things that were city, but I didn't see school facilities being discussed, honestly. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so there are a lot of hands that have gone up, and I'm going to start off this response. And I'm just going to bluntly say a few things. I think what Dr. Hutchings, actually what I asked at the end of my presentation, was really a professional courtesy. I want it to be clear that Dr. Hutchings clearly stated that we as a school board did not hear those things. So you're saying that all of these people are coming to the school board and asking about Douglas MacArthur. No one ever came to me. Dr. Hutchings did not hear anything. Other school board members can speak for themselves. So the professional courtesy would be that if someone comes to a city council member, anyone comes to a city council member asking about school business, that the city council member refers those people to the school board and refers those people to those who are dealing with that situation. That is a professional courtesy. Okay. And the second thing is, I don't do business on social media because I don't find it appropriate. Social media is not the real world. And so maybe we all need to reconsider how we behave as elected officials on social media. You all have direct channels to the school board. You have access that other people do not have. Use that as opposed to blasting our staff and our school board on social media. I don't find it appropriate and I don't find it fair. So that's my answer to that question. And I will let other school board members speak. Ms. Gentry.
The only thing that I would add to that is I think all of us understand the tremendous challenge of communication. And I think I know city staff and electeds work tirelessly on trying to find multiple ways of sending out information. I know that on the school side, we work tirelessly as well. There is no version of this where we achieve perfection of communication, where every single human being gets exactly the amount of information delivered to them in precisely the way they want it. So all that we can do is keep making sure that we're doing as much as we can and keeping ourselves open so that every time there's somebody that isn't getting something, that we follow up. We do also have the city school subcommittee meetings. We have the council members that are assigned to be part of school related items. And so there are multiple kinds of ways that we can give information. And we also know that people do just end up developing relationships. There are people, there are, multiple elected officials, and individual people might just create shortcuts. They get to know one particular school board member or city council member, and that individual person might develop that relationship, and maybe that's, they reach out to you, and that's fine. I would certainly encourage you to encourage them to reach out to us as well. But if the way that you want to do it is ask us the question, we give you the answer, and then you deliver the answer back to them, that's fine. But we do need to know, because we are in a constant stream of giving out information, and with all effort. And I would also want to keep in mind that at the same time that we are trying to put out information about these school projects, we are putting out information about what I truly hope is the most complicated school-related information that anyone will ever have to give, which is all of the information around this pandemic. I cannot even really wrap my brain around it. We are working very hard, and I do. I certainly, my assumption, if there is somebody in the community that is confused about something on the city side, is not that the city is holding back information or not giving information. It's, how can I help this person get the information that they need? And the way that I would do that is to reach out to you all, my colleagues, who I know would then direct me to the correct staff person.
Ms. Nolan.
Thank you, Chair Alderson, for the opportunity to engage in the conversation. I just want to make a few points. Is that one of the things I really appreciated about the majority of elected colleagues is the opportunity to work together as a team to really focus on the community at large. And at the end of the day, that is our North Star, that is our compass, is that we should all be collaborating and working together and having the best of intentions and graciousness to serve this community, particularly in a time of a global health pandemic. So I'm just hoping that that's a starting point, because to be candid, Councilmember Jackson, I was shocked at your social media, which several ACPS parents sent me, as in surprise that it came off that you were anti-ACPS, to be candid, and they were questioning why is that, and I thought we were all supposed to be working together here. So I would hope that that's just a reminder that that's why we're all here, to serve as electeds our community. And in that, I think we have to be super mindful of what is the staff role versus elected role. And I think that's a real challenge for everyone, not just electeds, but also the community. And I think we just have to be super careful as electeds to not step on staff toes, which I've seen, I've seen over time. And I just think we have to be super cautious that we are not responding on behalf of staff. We are not throwing staff under the bus. We are not, pitting this community against staff, but instead allowing them to do their job, and that we are there as an oversight body to serve as a support role, not to answer or question their work or that. So I think that was a concern of mine as well. And in that vein, I think the proper method for communications that ACPS has set up is their website. And there are several listers that you can sign up to find out if you're interested in a school or a project or what have you, and that is the appropriate way, and that we want to follow the lines of protocol. Because I can tell you right now, my number one concern about social media, which I do not engage in at all, and I never have, and I'll explain that. As a career educator for 24 years, I feel it is my job in every single thing I do to model myself as to what I want young people to do. And social media has become a tool where You know, a lot of young people are having mental health crisis over. They are using it inappropriately. They're gaining information. So, I mean, if we all could have a spare moment and want to watch a movie, I think The Social Dilemma can speak much better than I can as to concerns that occur over social media. I also, to be candid with you, find social media to be a tool against inequity. Because what I like about our website is it's translated into 4 languages. One of the things I feel like is sometimes forgotten is that 1/3 of our students' parents do not speak English. And 63% of our parents are from low income backgrounds. So social media is not the tool that they use to receive information. So I find it, to be honest with you, an inequity issue when electeds and others are using social media as their only tool of communication, because then we have cut out 1/3 of our population that does not even speak English, and other members of our community who live in low income situations that do not use social media as their tool for engagement. So to be candid, Facebook ends up being a tool that upper middle class people tend to use, and they're gaining in access of information. And that, why should I as an elected be jumping every time an upper middle class person wants to speak, and that I'm supposed to be, you know, a slave to the tool? And instead, I want everyone to have access, and that is public hearings, transparent meetings that are recorded, such as this one, the website, newsletters, the ACPS blast. So for me, I feel like if I were to be using social media as my only tool of engagement, I would be contributing to the inequities that exist in our city and not allowing low-income folks to have their voices heard or to be receiving information. So I will answer that to anyone. If you want to know why Veronica Nolan is not on social media, that's the #1 reason, as I think it contributes to inequities. And also, I don't think it's a strong role model situation for our high school students, particularly those that attend TC Williams, to be using social media as a tool to receive or engage in information. The other issue I have, and I think we have to be cautious of, is spreading misinformation as electeds. You know, the information that was shared was not accurate. And so I'm really concerned, again, if we step on staff toes, and use other channels of communication besides what ACPS has utilized and wants everyone, instead what we should be doing is exactly what, you know, my colleague, Ms. Gentry and Ms. Alderson said, we channel people like, oh, are you interested about this project? Here's where you can sign up. Here's where you can find out information, to make sure everyone's receiving the same amount of information. So again, that's, I say this in the spirit of all of us wanting to work together and ensure that young people are being served in our community and that we're supporting them and our staff in that vein. So thanks for the opportunity to share some of my reactions and comments, Chair Alderson. I appreciate it.
Ms. Jackson, is your hand up?
Yes. Thank you. Sorry, I thought I was on mute. Just so we're clarifying why I put the video up, it was because no one could find the information after we knew the information that had been said was February for the demolition. That's why we were all wondering, because no one had the information and it wasn't on the website. Thank you.
Madam Chair.